we ate a lot of food as missionaries. Just first in the apartments, we would just usually eat a lot of rice and spaghetti. It's just our general kind of staple foods. But when we would eat with members, or when we would buy something to eat, the number one thing that we would usually end up eating was called, if it wasn't already rice or spaghetti, the most common local traditional food was called pat. And the best way I've found to describe it is if you make salt dough, like the homemade Play-Doh. If you make it out of corn flour and you take out the salt, it's essentially, it's kind of like a mashed potato kind of substance with varying textures and colors and things like that. And that was kind of the staple food almost of Benin, was this white pat. And they loved it, and they would eat it with all sorts of sauces. There was a peanut sauce that was a spicy peanut sauce that was delicious. It was one of my favorites. And there's usually fish involved with that one. There was a sauce with what I found out after a few months was fried okra. It was called gumbo. I thought this was gumbo, and then someday somebody told me that's actually okra. Oh. And so that was very common. And they would make it with different types of flour, with corn flour, with just wheat flour. You could mix them, manioc flour, yam flour, and that would be one of the things that could change the color. There was a black pat that was interesting. I only had it a couple of times. It was okay. It was just something that was, I guess, a little bit harder to make, so they didn't make it very often. In terms of drinks, one of the best drinks that I probably ever had was bisap. It's made with boiled hibiscus leaves. It produces this juice, and you take the leaves out, obviously. And you can add mint or pineapple or mango juice or whatever, and get the right. If you get it right, it's so delicious. If you don't get it right, it's only kind of good. But you have to be careful, because most of these drinks that they make with baobab bark, with ginger, just lemonade, most of these drinks will ferment, except for, I think, the lemonade. I don't think that ferments. Maybe. But so they usually keep them frozen, and then when you want some, they'll bring it out and it'll thaw out, because you can't let those sit for more than maybe a day, or they'll start fermenting.